This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Your wealth makes you an irresistible target to online criminals. According to Saltus Wealth, 41% of high net worth individuals report having been victims of financial crime. Unfortunately, off-the-shelf digital security solutions aren't robust enough to protect high-profile individuals like you. So what can you do? Rely on Concierge Digital Security from Reputation Defender. Concierge Digital Security is not just another app to install, it's a team of experts working in the background to protect you and your family. Behind the scenes, Reputation Defender bundles a suite of best-in-class security solutions, covering virtually every aspect of your digital life, from digital identity to online privacy, identity fraud, insurance, and home device protection. Your concierge helps manage all of these for you. Visit reputationdefender.com/success to learn more or schedule your private consultation. That's reputationdefender.com/success.
You're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two romance-loving friends recap romance novels while marveling at dexterous appendages and talking about Bone Town. Hey HBs, it's time for part 2. Before that though, remember I'm raving about the Games We Play series by DJ Jameson over on Patreon and on our Apple Podcasts subscription. It's a true squeepisode. Alright, here are some of the wonderful songbirds who support us on Patreon. We worship at your altar Antoinette P., Iman, Marion G., Michelle M., Jeannie G., and Catherine M. When we left off yesterday, it was the morning after Orpheus and Rhea's mind-blowing first sexual experience, complete with a hymen perforation and subsequent near-miss feral episode. When we jump in, Rhea is running as fast as she can away from the cabin and the reality that she's a full-blown monster fucker. Here we go. She's like, I cannot do this. I'm a monster now if I allow this. It's not okay. It's abhorrent, right? So she's running as fast as she can. She's got a dagger and her diadem, and she's just fucking hoping that she can make it out of the veil.
Out of the veil and not get attacked.
So silly.
And she is not only horrified and like panic hyperventilating at the fact that she was so aroused and, you know, had great orgasms with this guy. She starts arguing with herself in her mind.
Yeah.
Like, I am not going to be one of those people that falls for my captor. He's a duskwalker. You let him lick you? What's wrong with you? How can you do this? And then there's this other voice in her head now, similar to the purple and red eyes, the rage and the arousal, the other parts, like, okay, but he's lonely and he's
so nice.
Hurt you and he smells good. And can we go back to those orgasms? Because those were good too.
And honestly, he's the only being who has ever been nice to you.
And taking care of her.
Yes. Yeah. The care he shows for her.
He wants her to be safe, which was like literally no one else's concern in her whole life.
No, and content.
Since she was 7 anyway. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So she's like, I don't even, like, listener, she doesn't have anything to run back to, which I think is also important. It's a really important distinction from the offerings that have been given to him before.
Yeah.
They've always had something to miss. She has nothing that she misses.
Yeah.
But she's running like hell, right? And then she does get caught up and she's like, what's on my foot? Oh no. Looks down and she gets more caught. And then all of a sudden a branch breaks and she's like, not a twig, a branch. And all of a sudden there is a horse-sized lady spider in front of her.
There is a trigger and content warning in the beginning of this book for arachnophobia.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of spidering here.
Ooh.
And this spider is very
Extra
interested
horrible,
in eating
though.
her. Say again?
Extra horrible, like the face is upside down.
Yeah, she's terrifying.
Yeah.
She's
Like it's
very
really
scary.
unsettling.
And she wants to eat her. She wants to eat Rhea. Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. How did the audiobook, was it Rhea or Raya?
Rhea.
Rhea. I was wrong on both counts. Surprise for me. So Rhea. It's
I think it's Rhea.
R-E-A. It's R-E-I-A. Listeners, there's a lot of vowels. I just picked one.
Oh, got it.
So
I like it.
Rhea. So Rhea's like, I am stuck in a spider web. This is a giant spider. It wants to eat me. And it wants to play with and torture her. And the way that it tortures her is the worst. It's so awful.
I cried. I was gardening while listening to this, and I was like, there were tears, actual tears, because, and the narration is so horrifyingly good. Like like the narrators are so talented, and it really made this scene extra hard because she wants her to feel sad, and Rhea's like, I'm not giving you anything you want. And so this creature has the ability to reach into her mind, and she can conjure the faces of her family members and the memories that she has of them. So first it's like her mom being like, why didn't you save us? Why didn't you love us? You didn't even try.
Yeah.
Oh. And then her 3-year-old brother's face and voice comes out of this nightmare creature. And he's like, Rhea, why didn't you save me? Why did you bring the demons? And all of those
changing
messages.
her face. The spider is changing her face to look like a family that she hasn't seen since she was 7, including her toddler brother.
Oh, her 3-year-old
It's so
brother.
Cruel. And of course, she's crying and sad because she's being traumatized by this horrible creature. And the spider has transformed itself into the faces of her family and is torturing her with the things that she said to herself. Why didn't I save them? Why couldn't I? Why was I left behind? Why did they die because of me? What did I do?
Right. And all the messaging she's getting from the village. So it's like, I did bring them. I brought the demons to our house. I'm the one who did it.
It is my fault. I am the worst. This is my fault. And the spider is, by the way, delighted with this outcome because she now tastes like sadness. And that's the spider's favorite flavor. And then Orpheus arrives. And this is when he shoves the entire use of his shoulder into her meaty behind segment and tumbles her out of the nest.
Yeah.
In time.
Yeah. Whew. So
and she's like, this is my dinner. And he's like, nope, afraid not, my dinner. And he's so angry that the spider has taken Rhea that that overpowers his hurt and rage that she ran.
Yes. And then the spider starts torturing him with the faces of all the offerings he's lost in the past. There have been 18 of them. And so it's going through faces, and then she notices that there's one face that keeps on coming in between them. There's like a dude, and then a lady, and then a lady, and then the same lady, and then somebody else. So there's one that keeps on coming back, and she's like, you feel so bad when you eat them, don't you? So like, why don't you let me eat her for you? And then you don't have to feel that guilt. And it's almost working. And then, he gets out of it. He punches this lady into pieces and frees Rhea. And Rhea starts running. He has to deal with Lady more, Spider more. And then he sees Rhea running and goes after her. And once again, he tackles her to the ground. He's about to eat her because prey and hurt and, just being overall traumatized again. And she is still crying. She bursts into tears again, puts her arms around his neck and says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for coming after me. I'm so sorry. That was so dumb of me. I'm so stupid. And he's so confused again.
She's moved her head away from where he can take a bite out of it because it's now under his chin. So
she's hugging him.
She is hugging his neck and crying into his chest. And he's just like, what do I do? And then he starts to calm down because he has all of these other feelings for Rhea.
Yeah.
He has this compassion and care and arousal and want and desire. And those all override the rage. So again, the rage starts to recede. And she's just like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left. Thank you for saving me. That was awful. I was wrong. I'm so sorry. And then he realizes that in all of this spider memory nonsense, the amulet has fallen off of her head and she is in great danger.
Yeah. So he spider monkeys her back to the house and he's like full on like loping in his animal. Oh my gosh, he has an animal form, everybody. I'm so sorry we didn't tell you about this. Anytime he goes into a red rage, he turns into like more animal. He's still sort of humanoid. Yeah.
He moves from an upright bipedal creature into a quadrupedal. Is this what he runs
so. Yeah,
like a creature. Yeah.
And it's bulkier too. It's even bigger and scarier. So he is, also that spider bit him. So
yes, he's got venom and that's a problem.
Yeah. So he manages to get her.
Sorrows, so it's a lot of venom.
Oh my God. Yeah. So he manages to lope her all the way to like the border where he's got his salt barrier, his salt line. And he's like, get in the circle. And she's like, what? No, what's wrong with you? Because he's like not moving anymore. He's very uncoordinated.
Very groggy.
Yeah, like everything's bad. And then he says venom and then passes out. And so she's like, oh no, like I can't leave him out here because all the demons are coming now.
Yeah, you're going to die if I leave you here. There's no salt circle.
Right.
He's just outside of it and he is out. He is out cold and she cannot. Like,
he's defenseless. Yeah.
She can't pick him up.
Right.
And she can't like do anything. And she's watching demons start to approach him to eat him.
Yeah. So she decides that she's going to try and pull him over the salt circle as much as she possibly can. She manages to heave him over into it. But in this lore, I actually kind of like this. Wherever the salt circle is broken, that is the only place that the beings can get through.
Yes, it's a doorway.
Yes. Yeah. Instead of, there are other, lore where if you break the salt circle, none of it is protected anymore. I like this a lot.
Yes,
because,
I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah. So she pulls him over it, and now there's a doorway for like the smarter demons. There are still demons that are like just knocking themselves into the invisible barrier in other places around, but only the smart ones can get through. So they do. And they're like, ooh, I'm going to eat you first. And then I'm going to eat what was it? The
Mavka.
Mavka, thank you.
All the other creatures call him Mavka, which is the type of creature he is. They call all of them that are like him, they call Mavka. Orpheus is Orpheus. There's only one Orpheus, and there's lots of Duskwalkers who are called Mavka.
Yes. Yeah. And so she's like, no, you're not. She's basically like, you're not going to hurt my man. So she runs into the house where they absolutely can't get her because there's the extra protection of the trinkets.
Which have an expiration date.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. They do expire. They're not permanent.
Right.
They
and
work,
so,
but only for a limited time.
Yeah. So she runs and gets a sword out of his bedroom that she knows he has because, I don't know, they talked about it or whatever. And she comes back out and she just starts slicing and dicing this demon as it tries to eat. It like takes a chunk out of his side. It's fully like biting into him when she gets back. She cuts
and the demons. Yes, which is great. And the demons know that without the Mavka there, they will eventually be able to get into the house and eat her. So this demon is like, I'm going to eat you and I'm going to eat him. But you can run in the house if you want. Yeah. We're still going to come for you because once he's eaten, we're going to just come in the house the minute we can, the minute the trinkets expire.
Priority one is getting him off the chessboard,
Exactly.
Oh my God.
So she takes the sword and she kicks ass with absolutely no training, no ability. She manages to take out this demon and destroy it, which is something that she had never done before, but dreamed of doing. And in the process of it, she's like, this is kind of awful. And I just want to get Orpheus inside. I don't want to do any more of this. I don't want to deal with these. I just want to get him inside. She's dragging and dragging and dragging him up to the house and then dragging him up to his room. She's like, why are you so freaking heavy?
Yeah.
This is awful. And then she says, this has been the most stressful day of my life. And I was like, okay, girl, wait a minute. Just stressful? Stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Yep.
You know what? That's where the bar is. I would call it, incredibly traumatic.
This is very traumatic. You just got almost eaten by a spider who tortured you with your own trauma. It's not stressful, girl. It's a lot
in
worse.
this world, it's stress.
Just a little stress. It's fine.
Yeah.
She'll take a bath and the stress will go away.
Yes. Well,
You
she's
just
got to
need to
get the
wake up.
gore off of her too.
Yeah, she's got to wash all the gory grossness. And she starts cutting away his shirt with a dagger and cutting his sleeves away and revealing his body.
Because she wants to bandage him.
Right. And before she had wrapped the bandage around him under his cloak, she really couldn't see very much.
Right.
Now she can see he has gray skin. He has deer fur through his skin. His ribs are on the outside. He has a very human abdomen and hips. And she has wondered if he has a cock. We have not answered that question yet. She does not answer it at this time. But then his lower back and his lower body look kind of human. She's like, So she tries to get all the blood off of him, tries to get all of this gore off of him, and washed her hands and just left him there. And just let him sleep. Hopefully she can keep him safe. And then she hears the demons on the windows. We can hear you. We know you're in there. Come out, come out.
They keep following her from room to room.
And licking the windows and licking the walls because they know where she is. And then this was one of my favorite scenes.
Me too.
He wakes up. He's in his bed with furs. And he's like, where is she? Did she leave while I was asleep? And he's like, what is happening? And his eyes turn yellow with confusion. He's like, Rhea, where are you?
And then he smells
hears this
elderberries and
voice
red
under her.
roses. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
He smells her. And then underneath him, he goes, oh, you're awake. You've been asleep for 2 days. And he's like, what are you doing in my bed? And she's like, well, there's demons trying to get in and they could smell me. So I thought if I laid under you, it would hide my scent. Like, you know, how you did when you brought me here under your cloak. And I felt safer next to you. So he's basically had his dream come true, but he missed the whole thing. It's like lying on top of her, totally in his bed.
But he is thinking to himself, oh my God, she feels safe with me.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah.
He could hear the demons. He could hear the threat. And he's just like, basking.
Oh, yes. He's never been happier.
Sunbathing in the fact that she feels safe and was also under him for like many days. And he just wants to talk. This is my favorite part. He just wants to talk. And he's like, wait a minute. I don't have any clothes. You saw my body. And she's like, I need to go to sleep now.
I'm so tired. I haven't slept in 2 days. Like, really. I haven't been able to sleep.
I've been awake, lying underneath you, waiting to attack demons who are going to attack me. Right. I need to sleep now. And he's like, no, I need answers. I need you to know about what you thought about my body and what happened and how did I get here.
She's like, chat later, sleep now.
I really, really, really need to sleep. And he finally comes to terms with the fact that she risked her life to help him. And this was interesting because you'd think, like, I was reading this, we're like 34% into the book, by the way, it was a big ass book. I was reading this and I hadn't looked at where I was. And I thought, oh, is this how she gives him her soul? By allowing her life to be threatened and risking her life to save him.
Yeah.
Is that how? No, that's not how. She just takes a big old nap.
Yeah. Yeah, but then that sort of starts this trend of them sleeping in the same bed.
Yes, which is delightful for everyone involved.
Yeah, yeah. So when she wakes up again, I think he's in bed with her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, oh,
takes care of the demons, by the way. He just scares the fuck out of the demons, rips their arms off, takes care of all the demons. This is not a problem.
Yeah. He does the salt stuff again. Like, we're reset once she wakes up.
And that's what happens in this book. Like, a thing will happen and then we reset to a state of safety and calm. And then something else will happen and then they reset to a state of safety and calm.
Right.
Like, this was very episodic.
Agreed.
This was very episodic, where we
Yes.
return to a set of like a stasis of, you know, there's salt, there's trinkets, there's him, there's weapons and her, they're in the house, they're safe, it's fine. They reset to
Right.
that point, and then another thing happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Very episodic, very serial like.
So in this restart, he's like, do you want to learn how to fight with a sword? Because like you did a really good job, but like I think you might be better, and it would make me feel better to leave you places if I thought that you could defend yourself. And she's like,
And-
what?
Yes. And they have a real talk about her being the harbinger of demons.
Oh my God, yeah, because she's sobbing and he comes
She's
in.
sobbing and she's basically grieving. She's basically
Yeah.
grieving because this spider just tortured her with pictures of her family, and she's had a nap and she is just a raw nerve and she's sobbing. And he's like, oh, the spider showed you your family. And she's like, I saw my mother and my father, my baby brother. I heard their voices. I haven't heard them since I was 7, and they're all dead because of me. Why didn't I die too? And he's like, how did you kill them? She's like, I didn't. I brought demons to our home. I'm a harbinger of bad omens. And he goes,
Right.
what's a harbinger of bad omens? She's like, someone who brings the demons to them. And he's like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, that's not at all a thing.
That's not a thing. Then he figures it out.
Yeah. And throughout all of this, she's been like, I just don't really feel fear a lot. Like, I feel I understand it. I understand situations where I should feel fear. I get a little uneasy, but I don't feel fear the way that other people do. And so
She
he's
sat
like,
in the dark and covered her ears to hide from what was happening to her family, because she knew if she revealed herself, they would eat her too. And she was waiting for them to come for her, and they don't. And he's
Yeah.
like, were you afraid? And she said, I don't think I was. And demons like the taste of fear. If you were not afraid, they were distracted by all of the other blood to even know you were
Yes.
there. If you stayed quiet, they would not have been able to smell you because your scent was already in the home.
yeah,
What could you have done? Could you have died with them? The moment you move to go get help, you would have died.
yeah.
It's okay.
You did the only thing you could do.
And there is no such thing as a harbinger of bad omens. That is not a thing. Can you imagine the relief of being told that this thing that you've been told about yourself your entire life does not even exist?
Yeah. And it's so wonderful because he is comforting her not only physically, but also with this knowledge that only he has, you know?
He's the only one that can explain this to her.
Right. And there's, I don't know, there's this moment where he's now like basking, right? He feels this terrible empathy for her, but he's like, oh my gosh, I can be there for her in this way.
I can help her feel better.
Yeah. And then she nuzzles into his chest and he nearly collapses.
This guy has the emotional fortitude of a toothpick.
It's so
you remember those
cute.
balsa wood bridges you built in elementary school with across a car? That is this guy's emotional architecture.
Yeah.
It's just a stiff breeze and he is done.
It's so cute. Yeah. So she is realizing that like he's giving her these tools that give her more freedom. And he's like, why did you leave? And she says, Orpheus, it wasn't you. It's not you. I like you. I enjoy you. I enjoy spending time with you. It's just that I feel like I'm still trapped. And he says, what can I do to make it so you don't feel that way with me?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, with him? Like how? And she goes, I don't know that there is a way. And that they sort of stay at this impasse for a while where she knows that she needs a lot more skills and a lot more knowledge and a lot more, everything in order to be able to leave on her own at some point.
So he's like, how about I train you in arts of warfare?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can take care of yourself.
Yes. And she's like,
Which
oh,
is
thank you.
not an offer
please."
she was expecting. She's like, you're going to give me a weapon? Because they
Yeah.
trust each other and he trusts her.
Yeah. So he hands her a weapon and she's like, okay, what do I do first? And he's like, I don't know. She's like, what? You
He's
said
like,
you would
I've got
teach
claws.
me.
What do you think I do? I have teeth and claws and a tongue and a big jaw. I don't need a sword.
I've
I
never
just
held
have
a
them.
sword. Come on.
What would I use that for? Claws are much better, much more effective.
Yeah. And she's like, well, then how am I going to learn? He's like, I don't know, swing it around till you know how to do it. She's like, "Ugh." And so that's what they do for a good part of this book.
It's like weightlifting. It's a training sequence.
It is.
You
It
know?
is.
We don't have a real makeover sequence in this book, but we do have a lot of training sequences. There's a whole
Yes.
training montage where she becomes more and more
competent.
Yes.
And confident.
And confident. So the problem is that he's trying to show her how to hold the sword, which means being in close proximity to her. And he starts to sniff her. And she notices, hang on, why do your eyes change to purple? And his eyes immediately change to white. And he's like, that doesn't matter.
Nope. No reason
That's
to
fine.
ask about that.
No, you don't need to worry about it.
Well, wait, but that's actually later with the bath.
Oh, yeah, they're in the bath now. I beg your pardon. I jumped ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I suck, listeners. I apologize.
No, you're the best. No, the only other thing.
A lot happens in this book. It's like
I know.
700 pages.
I know. The only other thing that happens in this part that I think is notable is that the witch owl lady arrives and she goes into the garden and fixes the garden because it was like decimated by all those rampaging demons.
Right.
So she thought that they were going to have to like start from scratch. But then this owl lady shows up. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the garden's even better than it was before.
Oh, yeah.
So then he's bathing her. And he's like, you're acting funny, because she's like gasping and she's panting and she's trying to keep it together. And she's like, Orpheus, why do your eyes turn purple? And he says, that doesn't matter. We don't have to think about that at all. And she thinks to herself, I just don't want to be in this alone. Like, I can't be sitting here lusting after something that doesn't feel lust, you know? Like she has to know whether or not this is reciprocated. And she says, is it because you desire me? And he says, yes, it is. And she goes, Orpheus, I'm aroused.
That's why I'm twitchy. That's why I ache. That is why I'm reacting this way. And he's like, wait, you like my touch?
Oh, boy.
You want me to touch you? And she's like, fucking yes. Oh my God, please now.
God damn it. Yeah. And so he gets all up on that clit. Okay.
Oh yeah. More claws on the clit, y'all.
Yeah. He does some dirty DJing over there and she sees stars.
And he's like, I wanted to play with you. I have desired you from the minute I saw you. I've been
since the moment you smiled at me, he says. Oh
right
my
in the heart.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. And she's like, well, that was incredible. And then she's like, oh, and then he has to finish the bath afterwards. And she's like, I don't know what's better than getting a post-orgasm massage as I just float here in bliss. Thank you so much.
This is great.
Incredible. So then the next notable thing that happens is that another Mavka shows up.
Yes.
And he's freaking out and he's like, get away. And then the Mavka is like, whoa, what's this? And he's like trying to look around him. And it's very clear that this Mavka is more animalistic.
It's much more primitive in its development compared to Orpheus. Absolutely. It doesn't have full language. It doesn't quite understand when it's like being inappropriate or scaring or being strange. Like it doesn't understand how its actions affect others because it hasn't ingested enough humanity.
Yeah. And
which
so
is
there's
a weird thing to say.
Agreed.
You got to go eat more humans before you.
But here's the thing I loved.
To be a sequel bait, you must consume more humans.
That's right. That's right. Well, but I kind of loved this, and I loved this for the heroine because it gives her so much more freedom, right? The way that she was treated when she was younger gives her so much more freedom to see the like moral relativity of all the bullshit, you know? Yes. She thinks to herself, I should be loyal to these creatures because they are my species, but they've actually only ever been horrible to her. And so her loyalty, it's okay for it to shift over to this being that has done nothing but care for her and protect her and treat her like she's precious. Yeah. And so meanwhile, he's like, hey, girl, go inside. Nothing to see here. She's like, I guess I'll fine. And she watches them have this whole conversation. This is hilarious. And he also like gives the guy some salt and some dill so that he can make his own like trinkets and protection spells. And then he sees him like chatting with him. And this is hilarious because when he finally decides that he trusts her enough that he can go hunting for himself and bring her meat back,
which she's asked for, yeah.
Yeah, she's asked for meat, and then she mentioned honey. And so he's like, oh, wait, are those stinging insects? I can go get you one of those houses. Sure.
Not a problem.
No problem. So
just imagine him just like plucking a beehive, tucking it under his arm and be like, okay, heading home.
Yeah, absolutely. Like keep the queen, you know what I mean? And then she can just set up her own hive. Like,
let her live, but take the honey.
Yeah.
So the two Mavkas are outside chatting.
Mm-hmm.
And the second Mavka sees her. She goes, oh, there's another Duskwalker. And he goes, oh, you have a human?
Yeah.
Why haven't you eaten her?
Yeah.
And Orpheus says, she's not for eating. And the other Mavka is like, she's a companion?
Yeah.
We can make companions with humans? And then he gets closer to her, and Orpheus really does not like this. He gets closer, he starts to sniff her,
It's
and
my human.
And the other Mavka is lowering itself to the ground to be less scary. Like it's shrinking down while smelling her. And he goes, she doesn't smell of fear. I want a human that will not make me eat them. And Orpheus is like, this one is mine. And he's like, well, I don't want yours. She smells bad. I want a better smelling one. And then he's like, does she let you touch her? And Orpheus this is when his eyes turn pink. And he's so embarrassed. He doubts that this Mavka even knows what sex is.
Right.
But he is worried about what Rhea. Sorry. There's a lot of vowels. Rhea thinks of him talking to her about this. So he's considering her feelings before he answers basically a creature that is just like him.
Yeah.
And then the other one goes, what's the sound that she just made? And she's laughing. He's never heard a human laughing before.
Oh,
it's so cute. And then he realizes, oh, hang on. If I go get meat, then this means that she'll be safe. If I, send the Mavka on his way, she can now defend herself. I'm going to go get meat. But that takes 2 days.
Yes.
So I guess he has to go into the human world to get it. That was my...
Yep. Yeah, he does. Yeah. So in that time, I think before that, they end up in bed for some reason. And she is like, I want to make you feel better. And this is very important. So this is after the Mavka comes, right? And so they're doing more slice of life stuff.
And there's two other things. The Mavka comes and then he tells her about the demon town, where the demons have a town where they have eaten so many humans that they become human-like, and they have an organized society and a town. And she finds out that that's who's making his clothes. Yeah. He trades with them. He goes to, Demonville to trade for things. And she's like, wait a minute, can I see Demonville? Can we go? And he's like, well, it's really dangerous. If you learn to protect yourself, maybe, but not right now. And he's like, I would like to. It's really dangerous. And if it comes out that you're a human, I can't, maybe I can't protect you. There's a lot of them. There's many of them, and there's one of me. And she's like, you'll protect me, and I'll just stab them. It'll be fine.
Yeah, she just.
And this is where he's like, I don't want to take, and you get the sense that there's some other reason why he doesn't want to take her to Demon Town. And she's like, but I really want to go shopping. Like, I really want to go shopping. Imagine you've been in the woods
and see other beings. But she's like, she could go shopping and not just wear these white gowns all the time. Oh yeah, because he's been trying to help her dye them with food, but they just got working. Shitty. She just ends up with kind of a pale green or whatever. So then, what was the other thing?
She gets her period.
That's the one.
That's the one. So we have the other, I'm telling you, it's like we return to stasis and then another thing happens. Yeah. The other lesson shows up. She finds out about Demonville, and then she gets her period. And he is not well with this because she smells like blood.
Yeah.
And Orpheus goes outside the salt barrier with his back to the house and will not talk to her or engage with her because she smells like blood.
And so she has to stay in there for 3 days, and he keeps on just putting buckets of veg and fruit on the doorstep for her. Yes. And she's like, I miss him.
And she keeps trying to talk to him. He goes, go inside. Don't. His eyes are deep, deep red because all he can smell is her blood. And that side of him is unable to ignore that stimulation.
Right. So then she ends up she's having a sexy dream again in her bed. And he's like, all of a sudden, she wakes up and he's red-eyed on top of her. And she
well, this is it.
Yeah, she kind of giggles and she goes, you just can't help yourself, can you? And he's like, no. Nope. And because he's beast now, he's extra beast. And he ends up snuffling up on her and he's like, why aren't you afraid? And she's like,
well, if you kill me, my cramps will stop.
Yeah. And he's like, wait.
Literally, I won't be in pain. And he goes, wait, what, you're in pain? And she's like, yeah, a little. Why does it hurt? I don't know. It just does. What can I do? Well, I thought you were going to eat me. Why are you not doing it? because I don't want to eat you. And she realizes that she's stroking his body, stroking his horn, stroking his chest. And he's like, I don't want to eat you, but I am compelled to eat you. I can smell your blood, but your touch is keeping the hunger at bay. My will to not harm you is strong.
Yeah. And the record scratch moment was her saying she was in pain, and that is abhorrent to him.
Yes.
So she's like, is it helping that I'm touching you? And he's like, yes, it is. So they end up
can
like
we snuggle?
Yeah, side by side facing each other. And she just keeps on touching him. And then she starts getting a little squirrely. And she's like, hold on a minute. He's made me feel good so many times. Because now she realized she has to ask for it. But anytime she's in the bath, he will finger her to oblivion. She just has to say please, basically.
And then
so
she kisses his skull. She kisses the teeth coming down from his skull. And she kisses his skull. And he's like, you kissed me. You kissed me.
Yeah.
And then she like buries her face in his chest and takes deep breaths of him. And he's just like, I'm going to die now. This is it. I'm done. This is it.
And she's wondering like, wait, he said, because in the bath, she asked him if he had a cock.
And he said, yes, but it's not like a human one at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
And then in his mind, he's like, oh my God, she's thinking about it. Like, this could be amazing.
Like, maybe someday this will happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she like goes all the way down like below his navel. And then she's
heading
like,
down the treasure trail.
It's flat. It's smooth. What's
Where's
happening here?
Listeners, it's Ken doll down there. Like there's nothing there. She's like patting around. Like where is it?
Hold on.
Orpheus, where is your cock? Where is it? It's not where I expected it. And he goes, it's hidden inside.
It's a cock pocket, everyone. There's a cock pocket in this book. I love a cock pocket.
And there's like lips where it forces its way out.
Yeah.
So he almost has like this proto vulva that hides his cock, and it has to like come on out. And she realizes
to extrude.
Yes.
Very important.
Seam, and she feels this hard bulge.
Yeah.
And like it's very reminiscent of like prostate play, except that it is his cock has to come out of this little pocket. Like I love the cock pocket is happening.
Is so good. And then she's like, whoa, this is like the size of a grapefruit or something. Bananas. He said he's had sex before. Or no, not yet. She's like, I don't even know if this would fit. And then
it's all the way out, and there's tentacles at the bottom
starts
too.
Unfurling. One of the reasons it's so thick is because the tentacles are like woven around it. It's like encasing the actual cock. And so she's like, oh my God. And she tries to like pull away. And she's so thankful that one of those tentacles grabs onto her and won't let her, because she doesn't want him to like feel embarrassed rejected by her surprise. So she's like, thank goodness, now I can just go to town on this penis and figure it out on my own.
Giant cock.
Yeah, it goes all the way up to her forearm, like her elbow. It's not
big.
It's not reasonable, is what it is.
Not a single thing is reasonable about the sexual congress possibilities here. Like there's tentacles and there's this giant honking big cock. Like,
I mean, it's like a salami. It's like the biggest
it's
salami.
not her hands that wrap around it. It's like her arms.
Yeah, it's so much. And so she gives an HJ to this guy, and he is trying to like keep it together. He's like, I'm trying not to move. I'm trying so hard.
And his dick has frills and like fern. It's like got ridges on it as well. So she pets these little frills, and he is just dying. And you got to think it's been at least 10 years since there's been a human, and not all of them would have wanted to even be near him, let alone go to handjob land. And he is like, how has he not come already? I don't know.
Because he says it's been eons. And listener, the answer is it's been about 200 years.
Yeah.
Since he's had sex.
There's a lot coming here.
Wow.
Literally.
Yeah. And so he comes like a fountain all over her chest and belly. And she's like, oh, that's a lot. Is that like normal? Or is it like more right now? And he's like, yeah, I haven't come in eons. Like that was amazing. And it will probably be less at another time. And so she's like, wait, that couldn't have been the first time you came, right? Like not your first orgasm. And he's like, oh, no, little human. No. And she's like, wait a minute, have you had sex like with another being? And he's like, yes, I have. And he's so confused because she seems disappointed. And then and so she's like, okay, I better go clean up. And he's like, what? No, don't do that. Unless you're like hungry or something. Do you need anything else? And she's like, no. He's like, well, then stay here and snuggle me. We'll clean up later. Like, don't mind the mess.
Later. Rest now.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to move.
No.
I want you to stay here.
All of my dreams are coming true.
Yeah. And she's like, well, what about all the demons? And he's like, I don't give a fuck about demons right
now. No. Oh my God. So, okay. The next important thing that happens is that he goes hunting, right?
Yep.
They've done all these sexy times. He goes hunting and she is outside practicing her sword. Yep. And she sees that the other Mavka that had been over before has come back and it wants to talk to her. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, whoa. Orpheus would be really mad if you were here. You have to go. And the Mavka's like, what? Why? I just want to know. I just want to talk to you. And I want to figure out. He said it's hard to keep a human. And so I want to know how to keep a human.
Yeah. Tell me what I need to do.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, well, what did Orpheus tell you? And he goes, well, he just told me I have to eat many more humans before I'll be ready to have a human.
Which is the correct diagnosis, but
it's
also
true.
Yikes. It's yikes, yo. Very yikes.
It's tough to hear for her.
Yeah.
And so then she's thinking she's fine behind the salt circle. And
he's just like,
he walks right over it. And she's like, wait, right over it. Why are you able to do that? And he says, well, the salt circle only keeps out those with bad intentions. Mm-hmm. I told you, I don't want to hurt you.
I don't want to eat you. You don't smell good. I just want to know how to have a human of my own.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And then he tries to touch her.
Yeah.
And he's like reaching out because he wants to touch her face. And she smacks his hand away and she's like, do not touch me. He goes, well, why not? And she said, I said no. And the other Mavka goes, he said that no is important.
Yeah, he like shrinks back.
I do not touch if they say no. And she's like, good. Yes. If someone says no, listen, don't do what you think you want to do. And he's like, would you please just come with me? And she's like, I don't want to. I want to stay here. You need to find your own human. But she's very slowly teaching him boundaries and understanding that this is a creature and not food.
Right. And she says, I want to stay with Orpheus. And the Mavka says, who's Orpheus? And she's like, the Mavka that lives here. And he's like, no, he's Mavka. She's like, no, his name is Orpheus. And he looks her dead in her beautiful face and he says, what is a name? And so she explains it. And then he's like, can I have a name? Can you give me a name? And she's like, you know what? That seems like a book 2 issue for me. So no, I'm not going to do that.
No, that comes later for you. But she also finds out he lives in a cave and she's like, listen, you need to get out of that cave and you need something
you need to get
better.
yourself a house. Okay. Build yourself a house is what you got to do if you want a human. So that's number 1 priority here. And so he's like, well, where do I get all this stuff for a house? And she's like, I don't know, that demon town he talked about? And he's like, demon town? What? Will you take me there? And she's like, no, I have no idea how to get there. Like, I'm not the right person to talk to. You got to ask Orpheus.
But she's thinking she wants to go. So she's like, well, if there's 2 of us asking him, maybe he'll agree.
Yeah. And so then all of a sudden she's about to really sit down with him and have a long chat. But then she almost gets scooped up by a pterodactyl demon.
Yeah.
And it's rough.
And the other Mavka just claws it out of the sky.
Yeah. So she ends up, kersplat on the ground and she's watching this demon and this Mavka fight it out. And she's so relieved when she sees a head flying and it's black, not white like a skull. She's like, oh, good. The Mavka won.
The correct decapitation has occurred.
That's the one.
Relief is what I feel.
Yeah. And so
it's so wild. I just have to, I don't like books with violence. Like the part where her family was being described, I was like, oh, that's going to give me a nightmare at 3 a.m. But when it is creatures like this, and I know it's super, super fantasy, I have more tolerance for it.
Okay.
And I was like, this is really interesting. It's just decapitations. I'm like,
I
okay,
just
next
straight
page.
up love it.
When do we get into the fucking part?
Yeah.
This was way beyond my normal tolerance for violence.
Okay.
And with the exception of the scene with the spider, I was like, oh, okay, I could do that, which is really interesting for me as a reader. I was shocked by this because there's like a lot of stuff happening. A lot
all
of
over the place,
arms
left, right, and
coming off,
center.
Heads coming off, legs, people getting
Blood
torn
fountains.
apart. Blood fountains, eating things, eating people, eating demons. Yeah, there's a lot. And I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's cartoonish.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So then this Mavka is wounded and he doesn't want to leave the salt circle because he knows that he won't be able to fend off all the demons that have been lured there by the smell of blood. Yeah. So he's like, I need to heal before I can leave. And she's like, if Orpheus gets back, like, he's going to be real mad.
Yeah,
and he says, well,
be really, really pissed.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't really have a choice, though. And she's like, okay, fine. And then he sniffs, and turns out Orpheus returns. And he is returning to what he thinks should be a one-person victory parade, okay? He's got a deer slung over his shoulders. He's got a hive under one arm, and he's like, I have brought my human all the bounty she requires.
He has hunted, and he has gathered, and he is ready to be received.
That's right. That's right. But then, when he gets there, he smells demon and Mavka blood inside the circle. And this
is not good for his psyche.
No. Meanwhile, I'm like, priority number one is explaining what happened, right? And instead she goes, is that a beehive? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, priority is not beehive.
Yeah, this is not the most important thing here. And this is where she starts changing. Her character changes and becomes very inconsistent at times.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there.
I have this knowledge and I know she has this knowledge. There's demon blood and another Mavka inside the salt circle. Orpheus is clearly pissed about this.
Yep.
And you should be, like you said, you should be diffusing this situation.
Yes. You should be on high alert before he notices the Mavka is still there.
Right?
She does not.
Should be intervening. And she's just like, oh, food? That's great. And there's a couple other times where she acts so weird, so inconsistent, almost like she's in service to the plot rather than being the plot.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
This was one of them where I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And Orpheus is pissed. He's ready to smack heads together and kill everyone around him. He's big, big mad.
Yeah. And then he sees the Mavka. And he goes like loping after it. And she's like, oh, wait, don't though.
Hold on. It's not what you think.
I'm just like,
never has that sentence stopped anyone from doing anything.
Right.
Even if it isn't what they think, just saying that does not change anything. No one stopped running because it's not what you think.
Yeah.
That is useless.
So he's like holding this Mavka up in the air and saying, I'm going to shatter your skull. And she sees the eyes go white in like surrender and fear and all the business. And then she like puts her arms around his torso from the back and she's like trying to get her touch to break him out of this madness. And then she finally just gets in between him and the Mavka. Yeah. And he's like, this is a stupid move. Like,
the hell is wrong with this human? Does she want me to kill her?
Yeah. So then she ends up explaining everything and he begrudgingly is like, okay, thank you, Mavka, for saving her from Flying Demon. And he's like, why were you even outside? And she was like, I don't know, I was practicing my sword. And I didn't know that flying demons weren't impacted by the salt circle. And he's like, yeah, it's only demons that walk. And she's like, this is the first time I've gotten that information, sir.
This would have been useful to know, my dude.
Maybe a few more specifics, a little bit more fine print is all I'm saying.
And it's so weird because he's so attentive to the details of humanity and what humans want and how they like. He's very attuned. He can smell her body. He can smell her arousal. He can smell her fear. He can smell her blood. Like he's very, very tuned in.
You know what, though?
But he does not think to tell her things that he already knows. He just assumes if he knows, they know.
Yeah, but I think this was actually one of the most relatable things.
For sure. Absolutely.
Is like, you'll tell somebody exactly where the cup is, but then overlook the fact that they need to know what a serving spoon is at all. They've never seen a serving spoon before. And you're just like, you get the thing. Or like I learned this a lot raising kids too. I had to remember that like at one point in my life, I had to be taught this incredibly simple thing that as an adult, like I just assume every human comes out doing, right? And then I'm like, of course not.
Yes. When I taught my older son to cook last summer because he was moving into an apartment because there's no housing after freshman year, I was like, okay, we're going to start with your favorite foods. We're going to start with your things you like best. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to chop an onion. And then I had to stop and go, okay, here is how you dice an onion.
Yeah.
This is why you get your ingredients out beforehand. This is the kind of pot you need, but not this one because of this reason.
Yes.
And like every step that I just do, I had to super explain. And that's exactly right. Yes, you're totally right about that. He just thinks, well, everyone knows this.
I told you there was a salt circle. That's how they work. Right. Of course.
Yeah.
So anyway, she's like, hey, he has a question for you. And the Mafka's like, will you please, on just the nicest heart possible, will you please, please, please take me to that demon village? And he's like, what? No. Why would I? No. And she's like, what? You have to go help him. And he says, well, I'm not leaving you here and you're not coming. And she's like, no, I'll just come. And he's like, no, it's not safe. And she's like, fine, then I'll just stay here. And he says, no, you can't. You absolutely cannot do that. And she said, I promise I'll stay out inside. And he says, no.
It's too long of a journey. All of the trinkets will expire and you can't make enough of them.
And I don't trust you. You're always where you're not supposed to be. And she freaks out.
You just got in front of me when I was about to eat somebody. What, I should trust your judgment?
Yeah. And she freaks out and she stomps upstairs. And she won't talk to him and she won't let him inside the house. She's like, put the deer down and I will butcher the deer and then I'll kick out the viscera I don't want to eat for you two. And then he's like, what about the beehive? And she's like, put it the same way on the table. Will not look at him, won't talk to him. And this poor, anxiously attached boy is floundering.
Like he makes himself super, super small and he tries to make himself smaller in front of her. And
this was so sad.
He doesn't understand. And also she's not using very mature tactics to express her anger.
No.
She's giving him the silent treatment.
Yeah.
Which is meant to destabilize him. Like this is not very mature interaction. And I'm not saying, and I'm not judging the heroine harshly, like, she should react perfectly at every time.
No.
She's kind of in the wrong here. She can be mad at him, but she needs to just tell him, and she doesn't. So as much as he's withholding information that he thinks she knows, she will withhold herself to punish him.
Yeah.
And she knows that it's effective because he is beside himself. Like he is coming apart because he doesn't understand.
Oh, it's like the cutest and saddest because he is such a puppy. He's such a golden retriever that he's like, why is she mad at me? What did I do wrong? How can I fix it? And that was one thing that I enjoyed watching her figure out.
Yeah.
Because this is the first moment where she's had a negative feeling about him, right? So it makes sense that she would have her natural reaction and just be like, I fucking can't with you and I won't. And like, you need to figure it out. Yeah.
Yes. Like, but then you need to give me some space because I am pissed at you, but they have to be in the same house because they live together and there's demons. Tough situation.
Yeah. And then as she realizes that like he will bend over backwards to do anything for her and he only wants to make her happy, she starts realizing like all I have to do is say it out loud. It does not matter what it is. I have to say it out loud and he does it or he tells me why he can't, you know? And it's only if it's like physically impossible is why he would tell me that it can't.
Right.
So later on, he comes up to her and he's like, why are you mad at me? And she's like, you really don't know? He's like, I really don't know. And I'm like dying. And she says, you told me you don't trust me. And then he explains like, if you had waited for my next sentence, I would have said that's not even a promise you can make. Because it's a 4-day journey there and a 4-day journey back on my legs. Yeah. So, like, you would have to go outside to get more food. The food would spoil in 8 days if you didn't. And she's like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, well, then you need to take him. And he says, no. And she says, the fuck? And she's like, what is it going to take for you to take me? Because you said someday, but, like, what is it going to take? And he says, you need to give me your soul. And she's like, whoa, I thought we were at companion level. What are you talking about? And he says, I'll only take you to the demon village because I made the mistake earlier with the other human and I'll only take you there if you can't leave me and you don't want to leave me. And so it's soul times. And she says, and if I don't do that, you won't help him? And he's like, no, I have no reason to help him. And she
Why
says,
would I care about this other Mavka?
Yeah.
And he also gets really possessive here, too.
Yes.
He starts showing off a lot of possession. Like, you are mine.
And he gets
no
green
one else.
eyes.
Yes, he gets green eyes. And he's like, no one else can touch you or hold you or smell you. You are my human. And if I can't have you, then no other Mavka can.
Yeah.
And she comforts him. And she's like, I only care about you. And I'm not going to leave with him. But I feel bad for him because he's lonely and pretty stupid.
Yeah, he's so dumb.
And it's going to be a really long time for him to find a human if he is how he is now. It's not going to work. He lives in a cave. He needs to upgrade.
And then he says, well, he can learn. And she's like, you really want to put him through the last 200 years that you've been through? That's what you want to do? You want to inflict that on another Mavka?
She calls him on it, too. She says, you have all this humanity in you, and you can't even sympathize with a creature just like you.
And he's like, oh, shoot, I have felt sympathy for myself before, which I thought was hilarious. And then he goes, I guess. And then she explains to him, if you don't help him, then you are not a being I would ever want to give my soul to. And I will never forgive you for it.
He needs to wear clothes. He needs a house. He needs to learn. He will scare humans away. He is overtly inquisitive. He wants to do this right. He needs to do this, and you need to take him.
And you have the resources.
Yes.
And so he looks at her and he says, so you'll never give me your soul if I don't help him? And she's like, no. Turn page, next chapter, she's getting a Mavka costume on because she's also going to the demon village. She immediately gets what she wants.
It's this big old journey. She's dressed up like a Mavka. A lot of the time she's under his cloak or being... Yeah, she's all very snuggled up behind him to really, really, really hide her scent because it's Demon Town. They can smell her.
They have like conversations, like explaining things to the Mavka in front of us, so also explaining it to the reader. And then
is another road trip, basically.
Yeah.
And they do things, and then they get...
Boy, he fingers her in a stream, and she really wants him to fuck her, but she's like, that's an unreasonable request in this environment. And then they go to the village, and she gets to watch like demon commerce, and she sees this whole demon settlement. And then
this is one of the things she does that like actually made me mad because it was so inconsistent. Yeah. She's under his cloak, and like she knows she's in danger, right? She's pet-boosted and covered with all of this scent. She knows that she's in danger. And when she gets into the demon village, she just starts yelling, oh my God, it's a demon. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, would you? And I'm like, she's smarter than this. Yeah. She is smarter than this. And
especially
like,
since he told them overtly, like, this is the thing you can't do, Mavka, because you're prone to do it. And this is the thing you can't do. Like, do not laugh because you have a different laugh than demons do. They will know.
Not make a sound. And she's just like, wow, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, girl, come on now. You're not dumb. You know better.
Yeah.
You know better than this.
And then she sees a woman in a white feather coat situation. And the woman's like, yeah. And the woman's like, hey, girl, come over here. And like goes around a corner. And she's like, oh, no, I have to follow woman. And he, meanwhile, this is also pretty inconsistent, is that she just like darts away. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like all you had to do was tell him, I need to go over here really fast. Come with me. And he would have done it. No questions asked. So anyway, he catches up to her and she's like, no, I have to follow this thing. This is what it looked like. And he says, oh, I think you ran into the owl witch. And so
Which makes it okay.
Yeah, because he trusts the owl witch.
You saw the witch. Okay, so she wants you to find something in this place. She's leading you to this place for a reason. Girlfriend, you could have just said, hey, this chick with the feathers is telling me to follow her.
Is that cool?
And he would be like, oh, it's the witch owl. Let's go together. Like this could have been no big deal, but she just is wildly inconsistent in Demon Town. Like Demon Town makes her drunk and her decision making is poor.
Yeah. So she gets led. Oh, because also the owl witch is the one who made the amulet.
Yes.
We forgot to tell you that.
Yes.
So anyway, she gets led to a bookstore.
Y'all, this book is like 700 pages.
Yeah.
I don't even want to tell you how long. This is a long book.
It's
the fact that we have stayed mostly consistent with the plot is kind of amazing to me.
I know. We probably should have herbsed a bit, but I also really like it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, she goes in and she ends up getting led to like 4 different books. One is on house building that she's going to give to the Mavka. One is swordplay, how to do swordplay right. Then there is a book of children's stories and myths and stuff. And I think that's probably it. And so she ends up getting those books. She meets a cat demon thing that is so excited to meet a human because she is not chill at all when he leaves. And she ends up just like giggling at what the owl witch has like implied by where her feather is in the book. It's on the story Beauty and the Beast. And she's like, more like Rhea and the monster. And then she looks over and the demon's like, you're a human. And she's like, oh, fuck stick. So she ends up like making friends with this demon or whatever. That's great. And then they leave and she notices that everyone is staring at their group. And she's like, what's going on? And Orpheus goes, this bitch made a scene when we were gone. Just like, this bitch could not hold it together. And this is so sweet. The Mavka is like, he was made to promise that he would also protect her with like his life, you know, in order to go on this trip. And he's like, I couldn't find you and I couldn't find Orpheus and I thought something had gone terribly wrong. And so he was just like running around this marketplace, like knocking things over, running into people because he was so panicked. And she feels so bad for him because it's like the sweetest in the world, you know, like, oh. Anyway, so then they get back, basically. They're back now.
And then they go back.
Yeah.
There was a moment where they look at the Demon King's castle.
That's the one.
Orpheus does not say a lot of great things, but he's like, this is the Demon King. You got to stay away from him. Stay away from him. But this massive castle overlooks the town.
Yes. Yep.
It's a very, very shadowy, it's perhaps a foreshadowy
That's the
castle.
one. Yeah.
It's a very foreshadowy castle.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So then they go home and they futz around a little bit.
They futz around. They send that Mavka off. And then she's like, hey, we didn't get to touch each other a lot, even before we left for the demon village. How about we do some fooling around? And he's like, I've never heard of anything better. And he was so excited because it was the first time he touched her face to face when he made her come. And he was like, it opens a whole new world to facial expressions. Oh my God, that's right.
She gives him a gift. She gives him these little jangly sort of bells that hang over his horns, like earrings.
Which was hilarious because after this, he never sneaks up on her again.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. So it's like tying a bell to your cat, but it's also like a friendship bracelet.
Yeah.
It serves many purposes.
And it's the only gift he's ever gotten. It's the only gift anybody has ever even contemplated giving him. And he's over the moon beside himself. So yeah, they go upstairs and it's sex times now. She's wanted him to fuck her for a while. And he says, I need another taste. So he goes down on her and then she's like, I need your cock. I want your cock. And he's like, whoa, this escalated way quicker than I thought it was going to. Okay.
She is most horny and most assertive about it, which I got to say, I appreciate.
Yes.
She's like, I want sex and I want it right now. And I want you to give me the sex. And he's like, oh.
No, yes, no problem.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We can do that.
Well, he's like, I got this long tongue, so let's start there.
Right.
Yep.
So then after that, he like spears her with his fingers and he's like, I've already been preparing you to take my monster cock. And she's like, yeah, oh, golly. And she really likes the way that he's talking to her because he goes from like sweet golden retriever to like sexy dirty talk man in the bedroom.
Yes. He's the bedroom boss.
All the time, he's like, all of a sudden, he's naughty, and she loves it.
And she's like, he's like, I have been preparing your body. I have been waiting for this. I am going to make this work. So he's like trying to stretch her, and she's like, I want you inside me. And I'm like, girl, I really think both of you should talk this out because you know how big that is.
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to go? Like, like the fingers, spreading the fingers wide. That's not going to do it.
Really doing much.
That's like you have a compact car parking space and you've decided that's where you're parking your Rivian.
The semi truck. Yes.
Yeah, you're going to park your Ford F-150 double in the compact car space. That's what's happening here. It's not going to work.
No.
So they don't talk about it.
Like, it's got to work. And he's like, I guess. Okay. And the most bulbous part, the thickest part of his penis is the top part. And so he's like, I just got to like thunk it in. And then once it's in, we're okay from there.
And then he starts dirty talking like he wants to fill her precious cunt with his cock and from when she first smiled at him. And I was like, Sometimes he talks
Uh-huh.
very, very simplistically.
Yes.
Not as simplistic as the other Mavka, but he's very simple in his language. And now he's like King Dirty Talk,
Poetry.
bedroom boss going in. And yeah. Okay.
It's great.
So he starts pushing in and it's not going to work.
Well, she thinks she's like taken him all at a certain point and she's stoked about it. Oh my God. And then he starts like going in and out a little bit. Yeah. He's like going in and out a little bit. And she's like, go faster, go harder. And he's like, I have to be careful until you accept me. And she goes, I'm sorry, what? And looks down and she realizes that like the tentacles aren't even attached to her because he's too far away still. She hasn't even taken like a third of his dick.
Nope.
And so she's like, give me all of it. Give me all of it. I don't do anything by halves. Give me all of it.
You told me you would fit. And he's like, you said that you would fit. And he's like, yeah, I can. And she's like, that's what I want. I want all of it. She is very explicit about what she wants, which I appreciate. This is explicit consent.
It is. Absolutely.
Yeah, like, I want all of it. And he's like, you really, really want all of it.
And she's like, yes. Did I stutter?
Yeah.
And so he puts his hand on her abdomen, like right underneath her navel, and sinks his claws into it because all of his magic requires an offering of some sort, usually of blood. So he sinks his claws into her and she realizes that he's like doing a manipulation and protection spell on her guts so that he can make her vaginal canal big enough, long enough, robust enough to handle his full dick. And she's like, at one point, she's like, oh, wait. And then he dirty talks her and he's like, it's almost over. And then once I'm done with the spell, like, I'll give you everything, anything you want, faster, slower, harder, softer, squishier, squashier, all the things, right? He's giving her all these verbs that make way more sense.
And she says she felt her insides move to make way as he dug deeper and deeper. But she felt no pain as he forced her to take him. So he has to really like press in. But he's got his hand not only making her body more malleable, but it removes any pain.
Yeah. It makes it safe.
I would have appreciated if he said, in order to do this, I need to stick my claws into your abdomen. It'll hurt for a minute, but then and he's like, nope, I'm just going to do it. And it's like, bro.
She said she wants it, you know? And
y'all need to describe this is poor contract writing. You need to describe the terms more specifically.
Yeah. One thing I love though later on is that the author addresses that hardcore, explicitly out loud.
Yes.
In the heroine's brain.
Up and I was genuinely shocked because I thought that they were just going to go right past that and I was the one who was thinking about it. No, it comes back up.
Yes, I loved it. Anyway,
and then his hips begin pistoning.
Time.
There's pistoning time. Yep.
And she's feeling those tentacles all up on her and she's really excited about that. And he is just railing her into oblivion.
Oh, yeah.
And she comes like crazy. And then
lots of times.
He's much.
Still going. Yep.
Yeah, all of it. And then when he comes, she's like, oh my God, he's still going. Oh, he's like, I'm going to fill up your cunt or something like that. Oh,
yeah.
Because he says, your well is so wet. She's like, don't call it that. That's so weird. Don't do that. And she tells him like pussy or cunt. And he latches onto cunt. So he fills her and then it's so much that it like splooshes out too. But here's a question I have for you. In this passage, she's on her back, right? I had some logistics issues. She's on her back. They're doing missionary is my understanding of this. And then it says that it splooshes out to the point that it drips onto her stomach. How that happened if stomach is on top of vaginal?
Okay, I think I can answer this.
Please.
He rocked in and out and a rope of cum squeezed out of her, hitting against her clit before more bubbled behind it. So basically, he is filling her up with so much liquid that it doesn't all fit. And when he thrusts in, it's just spewing in every direction, including up and onto her.
Okay. Yes.
Because it's dripping down and it's dripping in her backside, but also ropes of it are coming out of her as he's thrusting. And I think some of it just sort of comes up and then lands over her. And
that makes so much sense.
It starts dripping down her stomach because there's just so much. It's everywhere. It's like if you've got like a full bottle of water and you're trying to like shove a hot dog in there, the water is going to come out all around it, not in just one spot. Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome for that mental image.
Yeah.
I know you are very pleased to think about that.
So they do sex now. It's great.
And she's like, this is so fucking great.
Yeah, I love sex. And then when they go to sleep, she's like, can I just stay here? And he's like, nothing would make me happier. In fact, please never leave. That would be great. And then when he wakes up and he has extruded in his sleep, and that is really uncomfy because his dick is not supposed to dry out. It has its own lubrication that, listener, even comes out of the pores on his dick. Like it sweats the liquid that is needed for lubricated sex. And I had many conflicted feelings about that and its description. Anyway, so because it's been like out in the air, he's really uncomfortable, but he's so hard because she's right there and they're spooning. And so he's like trying to like shove it back in, but it's like so hard that he can't. And it's even his tentacles are like grabbing onto it, trying to pull it back in. And it gets to the point where she wakes up because he's making so many like movements and sounds and stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
He's trying not to grind, but he's grinding.
But he's gotta. Yeah. And so he says, I'm trying not to bother you. And she says, what? No, bother me. Absolutely. Like, this is not a thing. And then she says words that I would never, ever say out loud.
This
in my life.
Me too. This stopped me right there. I'm like, girl,
what are you doing? She says, take me anytime you want. He's like, anytime? She's like, anytime, anywhere. And he's like, anywhere? She's like, yeah, anytime, anywhere. He enters her, they have sex, and she's like, she thinks to herself very sleepily, I hope I don't regret those words. Oh.
Girl.
Listener, she regrets it. But like not in a bad way.
No. But like, you got to think about what you're offering a creature that has been alone for eons to the point where he comes and it's like a swimming pool.
And that you have not been able to observe his sexual rhythms and, you know, levels and satiation and stuff. Like, you have no idea what his body requires sexually.
And you don't know what his concept of sexual positions are. Yeah. Like, does he want to, like, you know, fuck your nostril? That's going to be a problem.
Right,
stick his claws in your head?
Does anywhere mean in your body or around the house? Like, what does that mean to him? You don't know. You don't know.
No, you need to be specific in the terms of your contract.
That's right.
Very important life lesson here.
Thank you for coming back week after week, listener. You're the tits. To finish this recap, make sure to listen to Smart Bitches Trashy Podcast on Friday. I'll put a link to their feed in the show notes. If you just go and click subscribe, it'll come up automatically. Next week, I'll be back with one of our Competence Boner patrons. Jamie P. Bradley and I are recapping the not-so-romance movie, Muriel's Wedding. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you next week.